Hey everyone, it's Rob from TonerBuzz, and today we are going to try to transfer an image printed on our laser printer and our inkjet printer to a piece of wood using epoxy resin. We wanted to find the best way to transfer an image to wood. We've tried several methods in the past, including embedding the image into a latex substrate and using heat to transfer inks and toner to wood. Our results have been mixed. But we found an interesting method using epoxy resin that looks to give really nice, amazing results, very shiny finish. So we began by printing out the TonerBuzz logo with its coveted 5-star Google rating on both our LaserJet and inkjet printers. We use standard 20-pound, 92 brightness, multi-purpose printer paper for this job. We cut the logos out to fit to the edge of our wooden rectangle. Then it was time to mix the epoxy resin. We used Epoxy by Zap. We chose the Epoxy, which gave us a long 15 to 20 minute working time. We mixed equal parts of resin and hardener, a dollop about the size of a quarter each, in a dish, and waited a few minutes for the bubbles to pop. We slipped on our nitrate gloves. Epoxy doesn't stick to nitrate gloves, but it will stick to latex gloves. We coated the surface of the wood with a thick layer of epoxy, then laid our paper image with the inkjet printed logo over the top. The epoxy resin soaks through the paper and adheres it to the surface of the wood. The long working time of the Epoxy allowed us to position the graphic exactly where we wanted it. We wiped off the excess resin and allowed the image to dry overnight. The next day, we did the same thing on the opposite side of the wood, this time with the LaserJet printed logo. We allowed that to dry overnight. We wanted to give our project a shiny clear coat, so we mixed up another batch of epoxy resin. We taped off the sides of the wood with painter's tape and poured the resin onto the surface of our project. We used a hair dryer to pop any bubbles on the surface of the epoxy and to move the epoxy around. Even though we did our best to keep the project level, the clear coat was definitely thicker on one side of the wood. When we duplicated this process on the reverse side, we used a heat gun, which seemed to work a little bit better for popping the bubbles. We tried for a thinner finish pour on the LaserJet side, and this turned out better. After letting the resin harden for a day, the surface still looked wavy, and there were a few bubbles in the top coat. We sanded the surfaces back with 180 and 220 grit sandpaper. Then we applied a final top coat of epoxy. We were looking for shiny mirror finish here. But you know what makes getting a clear, shiny finish really difficult? A cat. Yes, even if you can't see them, cat hairs are everywhere, and they'll find their way onto your epoxy project. We must have sanded and resanded this thing 5 times, trying to get rid of errant cat hairs. We finally got a good result after allowing the final coat to dry in our basement. Looking here at the toner side, you could see that there's a big wood knot in the middle, but it printed pretty clearly. Turning it over, I think you can see that the ink side printed a little more vividly, but the heat gun melted some of the ink and caused a little bit of discoloration. last, the TonerBuzz 5-star Google Award was complete.